From the BBC World Service, in association with ABC and Akashvani, this is Stumped.
Hello and welcome to Stumped, your intercontinental hit of news, features and debate from the quirky world of cricket. I'm Alison Mitchell in London. We've got England's men embarking on their white ball tour of New Zealand, with some staying on to fly straight to Australia for the Ashes, and been keeping an eye on the T20 World Cup qualifiers for the men as well. Nepal and Oman have qualified for next year's T20 World Cup, and by next week's show, I think the full lineup will be known.
Hello, Ali. Jim Maxwell here. I'm up the coast today, away from Sydney, and when the natural light goes sometime during this program, you might see the Pacific Ocean behind me, but it's a nice spot to be. The weather's getting warmer, and the Sheffield Shield's telling us very, very quickly, surely, certainly, that Marnus Labuschagne must play in the Test. He got another 100.
And I'm Sunil Gupta for Akashvani in New Delhi, where the autumn festive season has begun. Diwali is round the corner. The 91st edition of the Ranji Trophy started on Wednesday. But the big one is that the Indian Women's World Cup team needs some deep soul searching and perhaps cleansing, and for some players to stand up, because the way that they're going, it's going to be very difficult to make it to the semi-finals. They've got 2 wins out of 4, and they've lost 2 matches that they should have won.
Yes, the Women's World Cup is heating up now. Matches really going down to the wire, and the pressure becoming more intense. The hosts, India, have gone from the highs of beating Sri Lanka and Pakistan to now losing against both South Africa and tournament favourites Australia in what was a nail-biting contest. Sunil, on that match against the Aussies, I mean, they got off to a blistering start. Smriti Mandana and Pratika Ralpa on that opening stand of 155 inside 25 overs, and they piled up 330, asking the Aussies to complete what would have been a record run chase in women's ODI history. And they did it with 1 over to spare as well. We'll chat about Alyssa Healy in a moment, but India did fall away a bit with the bat, despite passing 300, and they lost their last 5 wickets for just 36 runs. That was a missed opportunity for India, wasn't it?
If ever there was one, that was it, because I was there for the radio commentary, and I can tell you I saw it for firsthand. And I was telling my co-commentators, and I was telling everybody else, because everybody else said 330, we got to win, never been done before. So I said, yes, it's a good score, but the Indian team is firing only on 1 barrel at a time. So in the first couple of matches, the top order didn't fire, but the bottom order bailed them out. And this one, the top order fired. We were 294 for 4. And then 6 wickets, actually, for 36 runs, not 5. Reminiscent of that Indian collapse at Leeds. But nevertheless, so everybody said, yeah, 330. So I said, listen, they haven't played 7 deliveries. They did not play. They were out in 48.5 overs. The issue was the stadium was sold out. And people started coming in when India had scored 330 in the break and all that. 27,000 people at the stadium. And then the moment that Healy and Litchfield got away, I mean, you could see the shoulders dropping, the heads drooping, and all that sort of thing happening. And, you have to give it to Alyssa Healy. She played a memorable, chanceless innings. No question about it. It was magnificent. But the Indian team suffered from a lack of match awareness. The other thing is, it's not just the batting, part of the batting, part of the bowling, etc., but the fielding. India is the second lowest in catches taken in this World Cup tournament. Just 66% catches taken. You cannot win like that. You cannot win with 1 barrel firing and half a barrel not there. I mean, it just does not work.
Well, what of Alyssa Healy then, Jim? Because she hadn't scored 100 in a while, had she? In fact, not since the last World Cup final in ODIs, and she makes 142 off 107 balls. And the team have been in a couple of sticky situations, but it just seems, during this World Cup that a different Aussie player is there to step up whenever needed.
Yes, I don't know whether she was smarting a bit from some criticism that she tried to answer at a press conference prior to this game about Australia's inconsistency. And the fact is, of course, they've got the depth to get themselves out of most situations, but she is a star. When the big occasion comes along, more often than not, she performs. And she did it spectacularly. Hats off to her, not just because of what she did and can do with the bat, but because she did it after being in the field and the rest of it behind the stumps. That gets pretty tiring, particularly when you're a senior player. but it didn't seem to faze her. She was just full of energy and drive, and there were plenty of those. But yeah, a commanding performance. Great effort by Australia. But that doesn't mean to say they might have a bad game again somewhere, but not if she's batting like that.
Well, maybe they've got their wobble out of the way in one of those earlier matches. Sunil, we'll talk a bit more about Harmanpreet Kaur in depth later in the show, but she hasn't had the best tournament so far, has she? With the bat, 21, 19, 9 and 22. On an individual level, is there a growing feeling that she really needs to step up and perform in a home World Cup?
Absolutely. There is no question. I mean, it's not just her batting. She's a captain, and she's been a captain for a long time. So as a captain, you have other roles and responsibilities, especially with the young players, especially players like Shi Charni and Kranti Gaur, who come in at the end. They're new players. And so it's not just with the ball and what they need to do, but how they should bat when they needed to bat out those overs. And secondly, if she cannot score, let's assume everybody's in the middle of a bad patch. Everybody goes through one. You've got to be able to guide them. You've got to be in the field. You've got to be, more of a live wire. You've got to be more of a person who motivates. And that body language, I'm afraid, from what I saw in the game, wasn't there. Because I think she sensed very early on this game was slipping away. Now, you've got to be able to think. When you have old pros with you, you've got to be able to take their advice.
What about that Pakistan match? I mean, yes, rain denying Pakistan an opportunity to get what would have been a momentous win. And I have to say, England, I mean, they first stuttered against Bangladesh, didn't they? They were 78 for 5 in that match. And Heather Knight dug them out of that hole. But this time, Pakistan having England 78 for 7. I have to say, Fatima Sana was wonderful with her bowling up front, in duckers, the ball moving off the seam beautifully. And it, again, just didn't seem like England could adapt quick enough. Rain ended play. They were never going to come back out. And so it was just so unfortunate for them that was the way it turned out, I feel. A real shame for them. I mean, they had Australia in trouble as well, Jim. How tough for a team when the rain comes and it stops them in their tracks like that?
England aren't getting enough out of their batters, are they? They're getting some good runs. You could say crudely they're a bit of a two-trick pony with the bat. People like Dunkley and Lamb not scoring enough runs. And they'll be getting on better pitches when they play their next games, one would think, away from Sri Lanka and a bit of dampness and the rest of it. So maybe that'll help them play a stronger all-round game, because they're going to be in trouble if they don't.
Yeah, these next matches that England have is India, then Australia, and then New Zealand to come. I mean, the India match, Jim, in particular, how important do you think that's going to be in terms of just getting a sense as to who is best placed to ultimately challenge, you would imagine, Australia to win the World Cup? And, bear in mind that South Africa have already beaten India as well. They're sort of sitting up there and challenging.
It might be the kind of litmus test for the tournament as to who, and dare I say it, will play Australia at least in the semi-finals, if not the final. Because at the moment it's South Africa and Australia who look the better organised, driven teams than the rest.
From the BBC World Service, this is Stumped on Akashvani.
To focus a little bit more on India, their World Cup campaign just hasn't quite gone to plan so far. Just 4 points from 4 matches. They've won 2 and lost 2, and they might need to win 2 of their last 3 games to qualify for the semis. Captain Harmanpreet Kaur has proven in the past that she can be the player to step up for her team, most notably when you think of that 171 against Australia in the 2017 World Cup. But just how did her cricketing journey begin? Well, she was born in Moga in the north of India and was coached by Kamaldeesh Singh Sodhi. Now, I've been speaking to his son Yadwinder, who also coached her. He now lives and works in Adelaide in South Australia, and he's been telling me just how his father first spotted her talent.
Boys used to play cricket, football, like different games. And Harman used to play cricket, sometimes football with those street fellows, sometimes with her brother and sometimes with her father. So, my father saw Harman and he approached her and said like, Harman, like, do you love playing cricket? And she said yes. Then he told Harman, okay, ask your father just to contact me, and he gave his number to Harman. And then probably next day he came there, and he met Herman again, and he said, okay, I did get a call from your father. And Herman said, I just forgot. A few days after, like when her dad met my father, and my dad said, okay, just, we are happy to accept Herman, and we will take care of everything. We are happy to adopt her, and we will take care of everything. He said, like, we will take care of her studies, because the school was
So like sponsoring her, not actually adopting her, but sponsoring her cricket?
Yeah, it's not just sponsoring, it's just taking care of everything, daily life. Like the school was around 20 kilometers from Moga, the actual where Herman used to live. And like all the commute, her cricket equipments, everything, the school fee, everything was free for Herman.
I'm sure out of those players you worked with, not all of them have gone on to play for India, not least captain as Harmanpreet does. What was it about her then, do you think, that your father saw in her that prompted him to say, I want to speak to your father and we want to provide everything for you to play cricket?
I think it's more of, the passion for cricket, and, she was like outspoken. She had she was raw, she was not shy of like anything. Obviously, she was a shy girl that time, but she was not shy of playing cricket with the boys. I mean, if any of the boys, they like they use like native language, but she was not scared of anything. She just used to play with the boys. I guess there were many girls who were good enough not to play for India, but definitely for India A or India B, maybe WIPL. Culture is different, once the kids grow up, they tend to marry their children, as soon as possible, just to get that, responsibility done. But in Herman case, like her parents were cooperative, and I mean, she was still in year 12 when she was selected for Australian tour. That was her first tour, and that was the World Cup after that.
A fast trajectory. What was Harmanpreet's family background, her father's work, for example? What background would she have been considered to come from?
Her father used to be a clerk, under some advocate, and like they were not well off. They were just staying in a like small house, very small house. Obviously, he couldn't afford cricket. That is why he's told my father straight away, like he can't afford cricket. I've got few snapshots of Herman where she said like nobody helped me in getting my dreams fulfilled except my father, like, because he said like if you want to play cricket I will provide you all the cricket equipments, but everybody was saying you can play football, you can play basketball, you can play this, you play that, because cricket is an expensive game. And my father has spent from the heart, like he wanted Harmanpreet to be an Indian cricketer.
Can I show you a photograph? Is this your father? Or is this Harmanpreet's?
This is Harman's father.
Harmanpreet's father. And what about this gentleman here?
He's my father.
That's your father, right. So this is an Instagram post. She says, fathers are the keepers. They save you from the storms and keep you warm. They are the guides and we are their prides. We exist because our fathers resist. She says, I proudly call myself a daughter to the best of two fathers, a biological one who got me into this world and the non-biological one who taught me the lessons of life and showed me the directions to follow. And so with that, she posted the father of her biological father and a photo of your dad.
This is 100% true. My father never differentiated me, like my family, my brother, my sister, and Herman. Like Herman was part of the family, and she was staying there like just like a normal kid. Like there was no differentiation for sure. Like we used to, because there was not many people who were aware of women cricket. I used to take Herman on an open jeep into the village, where they were like fair, just
right.
to tell people like she's the Indian cricketer. Like everybody is roaming around just to tell people like she's Indian cricketer, and
just to inspire others.
Yes.
So Harmanpreet moved to Mumbai, but it was a success. She did break into the India team. And I want to fast forward to that match against Australia at the World Cup in 2017, because that was an absolute breakthrough moment, wasn't it? The 171 in Derby in the World Cup semi-final. That must have been, a very proud moment for you to watch her do that.
that 171, it changed the whole structure of women cricket in India. Because like personally, I never, because I saw Mithali playing, Jewel and Mithali and all those girls who played for India, but Mithali was not aggressive. She was just and India used to score like 170, 180, maybe 200, 220 in 50 overs. And even when 220 score was like, it was a big score that time. And nobody scored at the strike rate of 100 for sure. I can tell you that. But I think that innings, I think it's a once in a lifetime innings. I mean, she was middling the ball, and I mean, especially with Australians, she always played well with Australians, with England. I mean, with good teams. She always had a. I don't know. She's very confident playing with Australia for sure.
How connected do you personally still feel to Harmanpreet? Yourself through your family, and what pride do you feel when you see her perform?
Seeing Harmanpreet, playing for India for the last 15 years, and never been dropped. We feel proud. We have given a nation. Obviously, she was a cricketer. She had talent, but my father, she showed her the way. He showed her the path, and he gave her wings to fly. Otherwise, I think she would have been another girl. Maybe lost in the dust.
Well, you helped to give Harmanpreet wings, and she has certainly used them over the years and will continue to.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Yadwinder, a great pleasure to speak to you for Stumped. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you, Alison. Thank you so much.
Well, that was Yadwinder Singh Sodhi, whose father initially spotted Harmanpreet Kaur talent as a cricketer. That's all we've got time for on this week's Stumped for Akashvani. Don't forget you can follow us on X. We're at BBCWS Sports and use the hashtag BBC Stumped. And check us out on YouTube too. Go to BBC World Service YouTube. My thanks to Sunil Gupta, Jim Maxwell, and to all of you for listening. Speak to you soon. Bye-bye.
Stumped is a BBC Sport production for the BBC World Service in association with ABC and Akashvani.